If it keeps on raining, the levee's gonna break. Well, isn't that the case, people? What's up, Nitro Nation? Yes, the Muggy Maniac is still alive. You guys are probably like, man, this guy bombards us with all these videos, hour-long videos, some brapping going on, and then we don't hear from the guy. Well, I do have a personal life. I do have other responsibilities other than Nitro. I mean, I do sleep, eat, breathe, shit, 8-scale Nitro. So, I mean, here you go. There's the modified Nova OC 28.8 Rex Legend. Yep, it's taken a, it's already getting in bed. You guys are like, you sleep with your motors? No, but kinda, yeah, I do, because they're in my room. Yes, I am sick in the head. Nitro. Frickin' fiend. But anyway, welcome. Welcome, any new subscribers. Welcome all, Muggy Maniacs, Chuggy Maniacs, Buggy Maniacs, Muggy Maniacs, Monster Truck Maniacs, and of course, can't forget 5th scale Insaniacs. These guys, drag racing has started right now, and, everybody's, well, not everybody, but a lot of my brothers are getting their drag racing thing going, and, well, where does that leave us 8-scale Nitro guys? Well, depends who you ask, I guess. It's, what time is it? It's 10 o'clock West Coast time here in SoCal in the OC. Finish up some wrenching and needed a little extra energy, so got the Rockstar sugar-free, 0 carbs. Eliminate all that extra stuff and just give me the pure vitamin B12, which is what gets you fired up. But anyway, man, a lot's going on. I just got done watching Mr. Woogie. So there's a few things that I want to address, so kind of let you guys know what's going on. Between wrenching, working, I still stay in tune, so to speak, not just hypothetically speaking with Nitro, but I stay in tune with what's going on. By the way, that was Led Zeppelin, even though a lot of you, probably 98% of you guys on my channel, are too young. You know who Led Zeppelin is, or you should anyway. One of the greatest heavy rock bands probably of all time. The argument is, who's the greatest. It's always comes between Black Sabbath and Zeppelin. By the way, I'm a huge music guy. I mean, I listen to Korn, I listen to Limp Bizkit. Well, that's old school, but I listen to System of a Down, Rage Against the Machine. But, you got to remember, the Muggy Maniac's no spring chicken. Led Zeppelin is what I grew up with. Classic. And sometimes when I'm wrenching, sometimes I'm watching videos, sometimes I'm just jamming the music. Depends what kind of mood I am. Felt like, Zeppelin, in the Zeppelin mood. So, sometimes I might throw on the 5-finger death punch. I might feel a little bit aggressive. But, I just felt like the Zeppelin. But anyway, couple shout outs. First shout out to Mr. Woogie. Man, that guy, let me say one thing, Mr. Woogie. You are putting in the time. You are putting in the effort. And I just want to give credit due where credit's due. I call it how I see it. You're putting in the work. You're really going at this thing. You're not the only guy. There's other guys out there, but I understand your frustration and I understand your pain, and I could see it on your face. You just hang in there, bro. I got your back. Don't worry, man. You're gonna get this. You're gonna get, everything and more of what you're looking for in 8 scale. And, you know, a couple things I want to touch on that I know you're struggling with is nitro can be expensive. Okay, one of the things that you mentioned is, you know, it can be expensive. Yeah, it can be expensive, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, I've got 1, 2, 3. I've only got 4 platforms. I'm going to get 2 more, and then I'm going to kind of just upgrade those to the max and get all the bells and whistles and all the goodies for them, and, you know, more motors, more pipes, etc., etc., etc. But I'm not gonna overload with tons of platforms like some people do. I mean, I don't just want to have platforms. I want to run my platform. Some people have a lot of platforms and they only run a couple of them. The rest of them are just, you know, I don't know, maybe, you know, they're just building a collection for, you know, conversational pieces. You know, some guys have museums. Some guys have like antique museums. You know, I've got some old school stuff, but, you know, I like to keep up with what's current. By the way, quick side note, Ryan Meofield, I just checked the points. He is #1 ranked right now in the world, 8-scale nitro buggy and truggy. So, you know, he didn't win the truggy at the last Silver State, you know. He didn't even get a podium on truggy, but in buggy he placed 3rd. Elliott Boots, man, that guy went from Kyosho, switched platforms, had to get familiar with a completely brand new platform, and right off the bat, this guy's rocking. You know, he finished first, took first place in the A-Main Pro buggy, nitro buggy, and I believe he placed 3rd behind Tessman in the truggy, or 2nd or 3rd. But anyway, Techno, #1. Joe Bornhorst, A-Main Pros and truggy. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, this can be expensive, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, I haven't bought a brand new platform yet, you know. So, you know, I mean, if you got $2,000, let's just say lowball it, let's just say $1,000, barely, to spend on a brand new platform, trigger buggy, then hey, go for it. Knock yourself out. But I guarantee you, and I'm generally speaking, that most of us don't have that kind of coin just to shell out on a brand new platform. That's why I looked and I got really, really good. And I don't want to toot my horn, but you know, I'm just keeping it real. I got very good at eBay. I've been on eBay as far as 8-scale nitro and everything that you need, platforms, rims and tires, servos, tools, hardware, shocks, you name it, for all 4 of these platforms for 4 years now. It's 4 years now that I've been doing 8-scale nitro. When I started, the first platform I had was this, Craigslist. It's the only thing that I haven't bought, that I didn't buy on eBay. Techno, Mugen MBX5 buggy, Mugen MBX 7T truggy, eBay. This one I got on Craigslist. That's before I even really got into eBay until, you know, I found out after getting this XTM Mammoth ST. They call it a Stadium, but it's a muggy. It's their version of a muggy. It's not the actual Losi muggy, but it is a muggy. What makes it a muggy? Well, it's not a monster truck. It's not a truggy. You know, obviously, it's not a buggy. So that only leaves one class left. Muggy. Okay, tires, oversized tires, big shocks. You know, basically that's the only thing that really makes it a muggy platform. But anyway, those things were $350, $400, depending, brand new. RTR, ready to run, came with a piece of shit high-tech AM radio and some shitty servos. Piece of shit. You know, I can't say it was a piece of shit, but I mean, it was a pull start, 24.7 XTM. You guys have seen it plenty of times. I show it to you. I have it here still. It's the motor in the middle. You can see the hole in the side. Blew a rod right through the side of it. You guys know, I told you on the last video or 2 videos ago how that happened. But you know, I learned. And that was the only pull start, or one of the very few pull starts that I had. And the next motor that I got was the Offna Hyper 21, and then the Overossi was the first real motor I got. But anyway, I got this thing, The guy wanted $300 for it. I talked him down to $200, I believe is what I paid for it, and it was brand new. The guy got it. It was too big for him. He didn't really have any place to run it, and the motor wasn't even really broken in. So I got this thing, you know, not as it looks now, but when I got it stock, it was brand new. Okay, and obviously I've put like so much money into it. That's why I'll never sell it. I've had offers, but I mean the center diff, which is all aluminum and steel, 7075, anodized aluminum top brake plate, bearings, steel gears, aluminum shock tower, the aluminum towers that hold the diff up. This whole middle piece was $200, and it was a lot. It was a pain in the ass to find, but I built it. So I paid as much for this center diff as pretty much I paid for this whole thing. Okay. Rear shock brace, aluminum, 2 of them. Front shock brace, that one right there that you see, that's the only original one. This right here, this piece, looks like a turnbuckle. But the other one is actually an associated. I customized it to fit on there. You know, this has an aluminum servo saver. Okay, the servo saver is aluminum, and so is the acronym, which is the piece that right here that connects it. Bearings and everything. My Techno and my Mugen buggy and my Mugen Truggy don't even have aluminum servo sabers. That wasn't cheap either. Okay, 18 millimeter, 19 millimeter, I think, 18 and some change shocks I built. Okay, you know, I mean, this thing wasn't cheap. I put a lot of money into it. But you know, it was my first, and you know, the parts were hard to find. So this platform forced me to become good at looking for parts, finding them all over the world. There's stuff that came from that thing from Australia, Europe, China, Canada, everywhere, man. But you know, again, I got really good at it, and along the way, I learned, you know, the do's and don'ts of eBay and what to look for and what to watch out for. And, you know, I heard Woogie say, you know, you don't want to get somebody's garbage. You know, you just got to really look. Demand, if they don't give you enough pictures, the things that I already told you guys to look for is look for rust and corrosion. The only thing you're not going to be able to see is the internals of your diff and your inner hinge pins. But I guarantee you, most of the time, they're going to be corroded. And you can either replace them or polish them. But at least that's all you have to worry about. I mean, I've polished on this platform, on all my platforms, I've polished out every moving aluminum, metal, steel piece you can think of that's either been corroded or rusted at one time or another. And that's part of the upkeep. So you could spend the money and just replace the parts. Some people will buy platforms used and, you know, get them pretty cheap, and then just, you know, but you end up spending more money again replacing stuff. You know, just be careful, watch and look for corrosion. You know, ask for pictures. You want to see every little piece of the platform before you buy it if you can. The only thing, like I said, you're not going to see is the stuff inside, because they're not going to take it apart for you and show it to you. But I mean, this is what you're getting when you get it. Usually it's going to be like this, you know, but you're going to obviously have the radio tray and the tank in there most of the time. I mean, you could see this thing. You know, this Mugen, before I did anything to it, I paid $300 for it. I told you guys that in the last video. Now you're able to see a little bit of, you know, I put a rear aluminum brace, king heads. There's the front one, king heads. Definitely I changed the top servo saver plate, carbon fiber, titanium turnbuckles. You know, this thing has ABC, ND aluminum, 7075 aluminum, ABC and D blocks. You know, throw on some mud guards. I mean, the shocks I got, they were in immaculate shape. Matter of fact, that's the only thing I haven't put on yet. This thing it's cleaned. I've got it down to where I can take apart and clean any one of my vehicles. I don't get have a full day to clean them. I do them bits and pieces. But I've calculated it. For me to tear it completely down, not doing the diffs and not rebuilding the shocks, I can do it in 8 hours or less. Okay, fully torn down, fully cleaned, beyond, I mean, better than new. I mean, and ready to rock and roll. So this thing took me, about, it maybe took me 10 hours. I did a little, I changed, redid my shock oil. I mean, in the front, these, again, look at these shocks. These are Mugen shocks. Beautiful shocks. These shocks are money. When I set my shocks, and I learned this from Ryan Lutz on the rear, I do a rebound of about 1/4, which means you push it down and it'll come up maybe 1/4 of the full length of the shaft. My front, I rebound it half. You want 1/4 because they're on the rear, they're taking more of the weight and load. You want it to rebound half on the front because they're not taking as much load. Now if you go to push down your shocks and you're not getting any rebound, it's time to change your oil. Check your diaphragms. You might have air in them. You just want to have some kind of rebound. So I run 45, or no, actually I run 50 Losi, TLR Losi fluid. Always have used Losi, never had a problem with it. Associated is good too. You can use either or. Losi's just a little bit cheaper. Again, I mean, I'm saving a couple bucks. I don't want to say oil is oil, but I've never had any issues with Losi oil. It's good oil. It doesn't harden your diaphragms. Some shock oil will harden the diaphragms inside, the bladders. You don't want that. Losi, I've never had a problem. Now, the old Losi fluid used to harden them. You would take out your diaphragms and your shocks using Losi oil, and they would be hard. And that's no good, because your shocks aren't going to rebound right. So I use 50 in the rear, and I ran 45 in the front. But like I said, I mean, these shocks are, immaculate shape. I mean, the guy raced. Either he replaced them before I bought it off him, or he just took care of them. Because usually you're getting the tops really worn. The sides of the bodies are beat up. These are like brand new. So anyway, like I said, there's a lot of ways to save money, so nitro doesn't have to be expensive. And like I said, if you're looking to get a new platform, I suggest you get a used one. If you can afford $700 for what you're looking at here, including the radio tray and the tank, then go for it. But most of us, like I said, I'm pretty sure can't. So, you'll save a lot of money. I mean, doing it this way, I saved at least minimum $500. And I'd rather take that money that I saved and put it into upgrades, put it into pipes, put it into electronics, put it into motors, put it into bodies, put it into rims and tires, because all that stuff gets expensive. The bulk, like I said before, of nitro isn't the platform. It's all the other stuff. So my suggestion to you, Woogie, is get all the bells and get all the stuff that you're going to need for the platform, because a lot of that stuff's going to be universal for you to use on the platforms you already have. Motors, pipes, rims and tires. If you have, it looks like from your shop you've got plenty of tools. MIPs, obviously. I've got another set of MIPs that I've just ordered. A whole nother set. Plus I'm getting the MIP bits that go on the end of the drill, your cordless drills. I don't have those. I've always wanted those. I have some, but not MIP ones. So anyway, she's ready to rock and roll. But she's not going to be rock and rolling anytime soon, because obviously next on deck is the sick-ass Techno. I miss this thing. It seems like I haven't ran my Techno in a while. I don't even remember. I've checked my past videos the last time I ran the Techno. But the only thing I'm going to change on the Techno is I've got a new JX servo that I want to try. Different one from the ones that I've been running. I've been having pretty good luck with the JX DC6015. which these aren't real expensive. I mean, they're less than 30 bucks. Okay, same as these Savoxes, SC0254 MG. Durable, reliable. Either one of these, you're getting about under 10 seconds quickness, and you're getting around 300 ounces of torque, which is plenty for bashing. You know, I mean, I see a lot of guys that are getting expensive. So if you're racing, that's different. If you're just bashing, and trust me, I've had my woes with servos. This thing, you know, servo went out, ran away. I've had a switch go out. No problem with the Techno, but the Mugens, I've had issues, not because of the Mugens, but the servo, either a servo or a switch. I don't run switches anymore. If you guys are running switches, then hey man, be careful and, you know, good luck. I don't use them anymore. I don't use switches. I don't use some kind of bypassing system. None of that. I go straight from the battery plug, goes straight into my receiver. There is no, I mean, no chance of that failing unless the battery fails or unless the receiver fails. Then there's nothing you can do. But I don't want a chance of hooking up any, because some guys will do some kind of bypass that they can plug together because they don't want to have to take off the receiver cover to plug in it. I don't care. It's not a big deal to me. I take off these 3 little hexes on my receiver. Take the battery, the battery plug it straight into the receiver, screw them back down, ready to go. When I'm done, unscrew them and unplug it. Oh, that's too much. Well, whatever. Do what you want. That's what I do. I don't run any kind of bypass or nothing. I run straight from the battery plug, goes straight into my receiver. I don't want a chance anything happening, because when you get a runaway, and I've just been very, very fortunate that this platform and my buggy, both these Mugens, are very durable and tough, because probably if it was a Traxxas, it would have been, you know, in pieces, or if it wasn't very durable. No damage at all. The Mugen buggy had, you know, I bent the bottom, the A and B, front A and B blocks. I replaced them, but that was, you know, 50 plus miles an hour straight into a brick wall. This one here, straight into a brick wall, but it actually had a patch of ivy or bush that was on the wall. Otherwise it would have hit straight into the wall too, and it didn't do any damage to this thing. So that was enough for me, man. I don't run switches, and I'm careful on what servos I use for my throttle. If the steering throttle goes out, your steering just doesn't work. You know, the only issue I had last time, and I got to fix, I don't know what happened, but is my again, I didn't put enough Loctite on this steering horn here that connects to the servo horn here. See that screw? You know, I didn't put enough Loctite on it, and it came loose like twice when I was running on the last video. But that's not a big deal, you know. When your servo goes out, or you have an issue with your throttle servo, you're screwed. There's nothing you can do. I know they make fail-safe switches, or they make kill switches for them, but they're so bulky and big, I wouldn't be able to run them on my platforms anyway. But so, you know, yeah, I mean, I just run my battery straight into my receiver. Another thing, a lot of you guys, I mean, I've mentioned it so many times, and you know, hey, I give you guys credit for trying. Sometimes you just got to learn on your own. But as far as the LRP, you know, one of I think it was Lights Out, Mr. Lights Out, just was determined, man, and I give you kudos for your determination, bro. But I already did, I don't know how many videos I've done, and you know, the X-Tech carb, I don't care even the brand new one, which is improved, okay, supposedly will not tune. Trust me. Now, if you want to continue to try to tune it, hey, let me know. Video a perfect tune with an X-Tech card from an LRP. I want to see that, because I haven't yet. And I've tried. Alright, so I don't know why you guys continue to try to tune those cards. It's like I slammed my finger in the car door. You seen me slam my finger in the car door, and then you say, you know what? But does it really hurt that bad? Let me try it. That's crazy. Okay? Definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and over and over, expecting a different result. It's not going to happen. You're crazy. So, keep on trying if you guys want, and if you get it figured out, please let me know. But those X-Tech carbs are a waste of time. I don't even mess with them anymore. I mean, I still have mine. I don't even know why I kept it, because I'm not going to ever use it. You know, I mean, I don't want to just throw it away, but I mean, there's nothing you can do to these carbs. I've taken this carburetor completely apart. I've polished and smoothed out the slide and did everything I could, but you can't. These carburetors have all the X-Tech carburetors. The problem is, the reason they won't tune is because they're the places where you can't fix it. Okay, they have leaks. These carburetors have leaks. That's why they don't tune. You can't fix a leak. I mean, you can silicone it if you want, but you wouldn't even be able to put it on you wouldn't be able to put it on your motor then. Okay, that's why they don't work. So don't waste your time. But if you guys want to continue to try to tune them, go for it. You know. So I know that was one of the issues that's been going on. Also, somebody asked me about when you do the pinch test. Now, the pinch test, everybody, you know, pinches the fuel line different places. Technically, you're supposed to pinch it somewhere in the middle, okay, between coming from the tank to the carburetor, okay, but, you know, I mean, the pinch test works, but still, the bottom line when you're setting your low-end needle is the sound. Remember, nitro, 99% of nitro tuning is by sound and feel and sight, seeing how it runs, you know. I mean, nitro is a lot of your senses. Feel, sound, sight, okay? You'll get an ear for it if you haven't already, for what it sounds like, what it's supposed to sound like, and what it's not supposed to sound like. Okay, so I mean, that's best advice I can give you on tuning. Okay, and all motors are going to tune different. You know, you might get a motor, depending on what motor it is, what size it is, your setup and everything, that as soon as you brap it and you hit the brakes, it'll drop down, the idle will drop down right away. Sometimes the idle might take a couple seconds to drop down. That's why that window frame under 10 seconds is, you know, could be 8, could be 7. If it's over 10, then obviously it's not fully dialed in yet. You know, everybody thinks because, hey, my idle, as soon as I hit the brakes, my idle drops right away, it's good to go. Well, it's not. That's not always going to be the case. Every motor is not going to do that. You know, a lot of .21s will do that because it's a smaller motor. You got to remember, when that piston is pumping, and when you hit the brakes, and the idle slows down, sometimes because it's a bigger motor, maybe because it's modified, it'll take a second or 2 or 3 or 4, maybe 5 to drop down. Some of them will drop right away. So, I mean, it varies. You know, as long as it's, like I said, under 10 seconds, somewhere in there, the idle does settle down, you're good. You know, don't beat yourself up trying, oh man, when I you know, brap it and I hit the brakes or I come to stop it, it takes 4 or 5 seconds for the idle to drop. Okay, well, you're good. You guys beat yourself up on that, and I used to too. I get it. You know, I'm a perfectionist to a certain extent. I'm very OCD about a lot of stuff in nitro. You know, some of it benefits nitro, and some of it can be frustrating because that's just the way I am. But anyway, what else? There was somebody else out. Oh yeah, one thing that I can tell you about the tuning too, and I heard Adam Drake talk about this on one of his videos. Your setup, as far as your tuning, is going to determine 3 main ingredients. What kind of fuel you're running, okay? What kind of pipe and header you're running, and your spark plug. Those things all coincide together. Pipe, header, plug, fuel. When I heard him talk about that, I'm like, oh, okay, well that makes sense. If you got that right combination, you got the right header in the pipe that motor likes, you got the right plug that you should be running, okay, and you're running the right fuel, your tuning is gonna come around a lot quicker and more to what that motor or how that motor likes to run based on those things. Now, like I said, I've been doing this for 4 years and I really never considered that. When Adam Drake talked about it, I was like, oh, well, shit, that makes perfectly good sense. So you're saying that sometimes the motor might have the right header and pipe combination, and it's performing well, but you know, struggling a little bit on the tuning because maybe my plug is, you know, that's not the plug that I maybe should be running, or maybe the fuel that I'm running, you know, this motor doesn't, you know, really take to that fuel. And this may sound kind of crazy, and I thought, you know, at first when I was listening to Adam Drake talk about that, I'm like, well, what do you mean? And then I'm like, okay, well, hey, you know, I don't question stuff like when somebody like that, a legend with 30 plus years experience racing and everything, and all the stuff that he does. If he says it, I'm not going to say, well, why? I'm going to say, okay, you know what? Let me try that. Let me make sure I got the right fuel. And obviously, I've been running the same fuel forever, so I know it's not my fuel. Plugs, you switch plugs a lot because of the weather, especially now the weather's been changing, hot, cold. You guys have been getting more cold, more rain. Then it'll warm up a little bit. Your plug's gonna change the way the motor performs. Okay, you know, so food for thought. Something I just thought I would share with you guys. I mean, hey, if Adam Drake says that, you know, those are important things right there, then, you know, hey, that's good enough for me. So anyway, I don't want to make this too long a video. Just kind of give you guys an update, you know, what's going on. I mean, the only other things that I can reiterate is, if you watch my last video, you seen the little clip that I ran afterwards of my final tune. Do you know that tune, a lot of that tune came not because I figured out, you know, my adjustment, or it was because of the temperature. We're always in such a hurry to get a tune in and get our thing tuned, and it's not, we seem to forget, I forget all the time, you gotta get it up to temp. Don't waste your time struggling with tuning your motor or trying to get it tuned when you're not even at 200. Trust me, been there, done that. And probably next time when I go out, I'll still try to get it dialed in, and it's not even hot, you know. Maybe maybe when it comes to stuff, that part there, maybe I have to slam my finger in the car door a few times. You know, I'm not perfect, but you know, that's you know, that's what it is a lot of the times. And especially Nova Rossi's and Italian motors, my Reds, my Pico, these Italian motors, until they get around 250, they're not even, like, you know, accepting whatever tune you're putting on. Whether it's the low-end needle, the high-end needle, doesn't matter. You gotta get these things heat saturated. That's why I use the head warmer. I don't even fire up my shit till it's at least 150 minimum. And I should probably, I'm going to start getting it at least closer to 200 before I even fire it up. That way when I start brapping it and I'm running around, I'm already around 200. As soon as I got it that day to around 240, 250, boom, it was settling down right away. It was performing a lot better. I wasn't getting that hesitation on the top end. I thought maybe I was still running a little bit too lean. I wasn't. It wasn't that. It was just the motor's still cold. I mean, it's still not cold, but it's still not at that temperature. I talked to Rick at RB Mods. Rick, when he breaks in motors, he's breaking in these motors, especially the Novarasis, he's breaking them in around 250, 260. See, I'm used to watching Mr. Bodegel there, Mr. Za, you know, and he's always talking about getting it up to 200 for break-in. Rick's like, nah, man, I run my shit 250 or 250, 260 when I'm breaking them in. And I'm like, okay. He goes, yeah, so I wouldn't worry about, I mean, as long as you're not pushing 350 or 400 degrees, don't worry about it. Here, and Rick puts these, this is on one of the motors, one of the boxes when I got my Rex modified. I mean, look, you guys can see that, right? Break in, idle 2 to 3 tanks. This will establish tolerance. What we are doing is tempering while break in. Then cover the head with a cloth to hold in the heat. What you are doing is heating the engine through convection, not friction. Let it cool down between tanks. Do not worry about the heat. It will be your friend. Do not throttle or rev the engine while hot. You could expand the sleeve and in this case and lose your pinch point. Do this until while the engine is cold, it will roll over at top dead center without getting stuck at the top and will freely roll over. I mean, that's coming from a guy that has over 10 years experience modifying motors. So I don't know. That's just not me making it up or saying it. That's coming from Rick himself. So there's some more food for thought for everybody. So anyway, we're gonna run the Techno next, and I'm gonna change the servo on the steering. I'm gonna try this new JX servo that I got. We're gonna run the Pico. I did take a shim out of the Pico, so basically I'm lowering the head down, so I should get a more bottom end, which this thing doesn't need, but it'll run a little bit warmer, and we'll see. I mean, this thing last time I ran it, the Pico and the Mugen, I mean, I know everybody, you talk about, you know, people, you know, I mean, I'm so bugging my friend like every day. When are you going to finish this ramp, man? I mean, the Nitro Nation wants to see the Muggy Maniac take flight, you know, get these things flying in the air, man. And trust me, I want to launch these things, you know, 20, 30 feet in the air. But anyway, what I tripped out is that these motors, as they're getting more and more fuel ran through them, especially the Nova 28.8 and the Pico P3 .28, man, I'm doing backflips. Have you guys seen the videos? I mean, I'm brapping the thing, getting on it, and these things are wanting to flip backwards. You know, I'm talking, I don't know if this Pico needs any more torque. You know, I mean, I took out a shim. It's going to get more bottom end, but it doesn't really need any more bottom end. But Rick suggested, you know, once you break in, once the motors get over a gallon through them, once the break-in's all done, which pretty much they are now, remove a head shim. So that's what I did. We're going to see how the Pico runs this next time around. And you guys will see it firsthand. But anyway, that's pretty much it. I think I've covered everything. Yeah, you know, so if you guys have any other questions, comments, you know, like I said, shout out to Mr. Woogie, man. You're doing a killer job, man. Keep it up. Be patient. Hang in there. I got your back, bro. If you need anything, let me know. You know, hang in there. Also, Mr. Lights Out Jones over there, you know. But if I were you, don't waste your time on that X-Tech carb on that LRP. Oh, yeah, another thing, Mr. Woogie. If you don't, I know you don't want to spend the money on changing the carburetor on the LRP that you have. But if you need to change a carb that'll run good on LRPs, I know on the .32, I don't know on the other motors, is the Kyosho. The Kyosho carburetor, and they're less than 20 bucks, that comes on the K.25, I think it's their .25 motor. You can look it up on eBay. That carburetor, it fits perfect on the LRP motors. And that carburetor, I was able to tune my .32 when I was breaking it in. It runs a hell of a lot better than that X-Tech piece of shit. And the same for you, Mr. Lights Out Jones. Look into that carburetor. It's very cheap. It's the Kyosho carburetor that comes on the .25. I'm not sure the part number. If you guys really need it, hit me up. I'll try to get it for you. I have a couple of those carburetors. I ran it on the LRP .32, like I said, when I was breaking it in, and it runs pretty well. And I got it to settle down, got a good tune on it, way better than that X-Tech piece of shit. And it's affordable. Like I said, that Kyosho carburetor is less than 20 bucks. But anyway, that's all I got, people. I got to get back to finish putting this thing back together and prepping this for getting ready to get you guys some more brat video of the Techno coming up. So anyway, that's all I got. Muggy Maniacs out. Peace.